Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
We've done it, people. We've made it. This is season 5. Season 5 of the Online Prosperity Experience. I welcome you to the new era, new content, new pathway that we're going to be taking in order to help you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And if this is the first time that you're tuning into the Online Prosperity Experience, well, welcome. Where have you been? So naturally, if you've been with us for all this time, I would like to take this time to thank you for your unwavering support. And for those that haven't subscribed yet, obviously you can see that we're not stopping. You might as well join. If you can't beat them, join them. As you know, we help consultants scale their business by actually driving leads. And then we harvest those leads while converting them into happy clients that pay, stay, and refer. And all of this done through automation, independently of you, the business owner, in a systemized format that is actually predictable, so that you, my internet explorer, can build a lifestyle business, not a lifetime. Yes, and a lifetime of recurring revenue. So in a nutshell, that's all we do. And this podcast is just simply there to help you with the tricks and strategies that are actually helping business owners, professionals, and other service providers out there create businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. And you might be thinking, should I be listening to this podcast, and what have they been talking about? Well, I want to ask you a few questions. Maybe you are wrestling with these marketing issues within your business. Now, do you sometimes seem to attract too many less than ideal clients? So maybe with your marketing, are you attracting people that you actually don't want to work with? And do you maybe feel like a commodity where you have to compete on price? Where your clients come with you, showing you somebody else's quotation and says, hey, if you can beat this, we'll go with you. Or do you find that your efforts are not getting the traction that you actually need to the stage of business that you are at right now, and you are left uncertain how you can maybe move forward in order to keep attracting the right kind of people with the right kind of pain that are looking for your solutions? And I know something. You're dealing with overwhelm right now, and you're probably putting off decisions whether to keep marketing your business or keep growing it, because you are not quite sure what is on the other end of the line, and you'd like to increase the odds that you're placing, or maybe the bets that you're placing in the marketing lottery. Okay, how you attract the business, and you actually want to be the lottery winner. Well, let me tell you something. At the end of the day, each and every one of us needs to, first of all, figure out what we love doing, and then figure out how to actually make money doing it. All right. The reason why I'm saying this is, by the time I'm recording this podcast, Queen Elizabeth II has actually passed on. God say rest her soul. She died at 96 years old. I want you to calculate back from 96 to your age right now. Okay, maybe I'll give you an example. I'm 39 this year. Okay, and from my age right now to the time the Queen died, that's 57 years. Now, that should tell you something. The Queen has lived 2 lifetimes of my current age right now. And what does that mean for you? And why am I telling you this right now? Is because up until the time she died, she still held office. She still was cognizant of what it is that was happening around her. She still was the world leader, whether you like it or not. Even if you say, yeah, nah, my queen is Latifah or things of that nature, she still was Queen Elizabeth II, who is on your $5 note, who is on your currency right now. So now you want to maybe flip that back to your own business and figure out, what will you be doing for the next 50 years? All right? What will you be doing for the next 60 years? Because nowadays people having a lifespan of 100 years old. If you just don't drink poison or eat the wrong foods, you will live up until, like the Queen, 96 years old. Right, let's not talk about dead people. Let's talk about Warren Buffett. And I'm saying this with love and respect. By the time I record this podcast, he was still well and strong. The young boy from Omaha, 92 years of age, and he still leads a multi-billion-dollar company. He still talks at his Omaha conferences that I watch all the time, and he's joking with the people that show up at these places. And one of the jokes that he says is, I have to keep showing up just in case you start wondering, somebody my age is still alive and is looking after their money. No, I kid you not. Look at what you're doing right now. Is what you're doing building the lifestyle that will sustain you up until 100 years old? Because if it's not, I think it's time for you to actually take stock. I viscerally believe that your business should be in alignment with what success obviously looks like to you, and something that you can sustain up until, when you're 100 or when you're no more. And it shouldn't stop there, because obviously you're going to leave a legacy because you lived your life to the fullest. I mean, the last thing that you want is to wake up and realize that your business is a monster. One that eats away your time, your freedom, your happiness, and your longevity. Why would you stick around for something that is not actually paying you or putting you in the right frame of mind and doing the things that you absolutely love? So I've got a question for you. What comes first, your lifestyle or your business? Because this concept is critical to how I've built Live Long Digital, that has now become an international digital marketing agency for people like yourself. And it's a business that I've been fortunate enough to grow, to see through the sweeping lockdowns, the pandemics, even now enjoying 7 figures while I travel the world with my kids, enjoying my favorite hobbies and spending time with my family. I mean, I'm hoping that at the end of this podcast, if I haven't done anything but just literally just show you that it is possible for you to have time and freedom all at the same time. Because some people don't quite understand that that is possible. And the more you're working and doing the things that you absolutely love, you'll be inspired by, the people that you surround yourself with, and it will keep you going further and further. That way, you now create for and relate to the people you love working with, instead of just doing work, for people that don't care for your own well-being. A lot of people are putting their business before their lifestyle. And you, my friend, are not going to see the life that, the Queen has enjoyed, or people like Warren Buffett have enjoyed. Because you might be thinking, maybe the Queen has a lot of people that are doing stuff for her. But how about Warren Buffett? I mean, I've got friends right now that are still, on the tools, so to speak. And right now I'm looking outside. It's a beautiful day. I'm looking at the clouds. I don't even know what cloud has my data, and I don't even care, because somebody's looking after that stuff for me. Before I came on this podcast and before I started talking about this, I was just talking to a friend, because apparently today is a Memorial Day. So it's like a public holiday, and I'm calling another friend and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, how are you doing? What's happening? Because I hardly ever talk to him because, he's always busy working. You know what I mean? And every time I probably speak to him, he's always telling me about something that he's working on. He hardly ever speaks about spending time with his family or his young daughters. And his daughters are the same age as mine. I actually wanted to create a play date because it's school holidays now. And he's always working so hard. And now I think he's already started having health issues. So I actually asked him when we were working, man, why do you have such a hectic schedule? And he's like, I'm doing it for my kids. Then I was like, wait a minute. He's putting his business before his lifestyle. And he was even putting, his business before his own family, And I kid you not, in the early days of my consulting days, I used to live like this. You know what I mean? I used to sit around and just work, and not realizing that I could actually leverage. I could leverage a podcast. I could leverage email marketing. I could leverage other people that know how to do things cheaper, better, faster. And I know a lot of business owners are guilty of living this way. You're never going to see 96 like the Queen, my friend. We prioritize our business over everything else, our health, our social lives, and our families. I mean, we think about the way we spend our time as, first of all, business comes first and then family comes later. And as entrepreneurs, many of us, put our businesses at the top. Our business is the be it and end all that defines who we are. You're a dad first. You're a mom first. You're a husband first. You're wife first. And whatever it is in between, all right? You want to make sure that your life matters. It's not only just the Black lives that matter, even though it's a corrupt organization. And don't ask me why I say that. So in order for you to have a business that's profitable and enjoyable, you really need to make sure that you're not making sacrifices in your lifestyle. The sacrifices I'm talking about is maybe less time with your family, less time exercising and taking care of your health, less time enjoying your hobbies, all of that stuff. Because I've noticed that once I'm happy and everything else is operating on all cylinders, guess what happens? Success just shows up in all places. You don't have to sacrifice your lifestyle to build a successful coaching or consulting business, my friend. Instead, you can actually design a business that supports both your lifestyle instead of the other way around. I mean, if you keep listening to me, you'll discover a brand new way of creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. You will reimagine it, you'll re-engineer and revamp everything you've been told you have to do. First of all, there's always somebody who can do something cheaper, better, faster. So if you're not good at emailing, if you're not good at SEO, if you're not good at content marketing, if you're not good at just about anything else, find somebody who can do that for you. All right? And it's the way life has been made so far is we just need to, know what it is that we want and find somebody or tools that will be able to help us. And this sort of business, or maybe you're running a digital marketing agency, doesn't even require you to be maybe on the phone all day, cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face. It doesn't even require you to constantly check your emails or have endless client meetings. Why? Because everything is automated. In fact, you will actually empty your calendar and you will still earn 7 figures and beyond. You know why? Because you now have customers that absolutely love what it is that you are, selling, and they'll be buying from you constantly. Wouldn't it be nice if you had raving fans, hundreds of raving fans every single time that are buying everything that you have? This is the whole core, of the online prosperity blueprint. And if you haven't had a chance to have an opportunity to have a chat with me, I encourage you to click one of the links that comes with this podcast, and then we can have a total, online presence audit for you. That way, we'll be able to really look at what it is that you are working on right now. And first of all, the one thing that makes you work too much is maybe because you haven't identified your target audience. All right. And you haven't clarified your message. So if you want to be building a more predictable, profitable, and strategic consulting or coaching business, I encourage you to book a call with me. And then we'll work hands-on so that you can develop a strategic plan. Then we'll actually deep dive and, work through your ideal client clarity, your strategic messaging. We also look at the fees that you're charging right now and the pricing, because once you price right your services, you'll be able to command the attention, of people that pay, stay, and actually refer. And then I want to look at your business model so we can optimize it so that you actually prioritize your lifestyle more than, just running a business. And then I want to help you set up your marketing engine and lead generation system so that you consistently attract the ideal clients. That way, you are not spraying and praying with your marketing. That's the core of the online prosperity experience. That's the core of you being on this podcast. That's the core of you following my work and my life promise. That's the one big idea that I wish for you. And I'm not saying this to impress you. I just want to impress upon you that you deserve a life of freedom while your income actually continues to grow. And once we work together, you will create this new life while making profound differences in your client's life, in your family's life, in the simplest and easiest way possible. I mean, this might sound la-di-da or whatever it is, simple and obvious, yet it is rarely done in practice. Not a lot of people understand they deserve a life of freedom. All right? Very few people in our society can create money and freedom together at the same time. As the money goes up, your freedom goes down. And I'm talking about freedom of you actually, being away from your phone, being away from your business, and having to do time that things that you love doing. I'm talking about the freedom that doesn't allow you time with your family, that doesn't allow you time to exercise and actually take care of your health and actually enjoy some hobbies. What are you even working for anyway? There's hordes and hordes of I'm saying very successful doctors, lawyers, consultants, coaches who've missed their children growing up, and I don't want you to be one of them. And knowing that we're going to live up until 100, you need to know that this is no longer it's not a race, it's a marathon. So you need to take care of the body that's going to take you up until you're 100. Of course, I understand you've got a big bank account, but what's a big bank account with a failed marriage? What's a big bank account with poor health? Let me tell you something, man. Of course, being broke as a coach or consultant and maybe struggling to pay rent shouldn't be your goal either. That's not what I'm saying. I want you to understand. I'm saying this with utmost love and respect. You don't want, to have all the time in the world with endless, without any money to spend. And you don't want to have all the money in the world without any time to spend it. All right. So I really want to work with you. And if we do the audit, okay, I want you to guide you to that sweet space where you can actually become abundant in time and money all together at the same time. And you will experience what only true freedom can buy. Do you know what I mean? There's a heavy emphasis on your quality of life. You now have more time with your family, more time exercising and taking care of your health, more time doing work that matters for people who care. Like for real, man. Today I speak to coaches and consultants who seem to be trying to find that freedom, that time, and they're doing it the other way around. And when I ask them, why do you do what you do? Why are you a copywriter? Why are you a doctor? Why are you a lawyer? Why are you a designer? Why are you a programmer? Why are you a freelancer? In some way or another, they usually just tell me that they had it was a good way to make money. And I think that approach makes things a little bit harder for them. I've succeeded as a digital marketer and a web designer simply because I love what I do. And I'm fascinated by business. All right? So I want you to experience what only true freedom can buy and improve the quality of your life. There's something that no one tells you about this business. When you create a highly successful, consulting or coaching business, it's actually one of the hardest businesses in the world to scale. So you need to be ready for this. And you need to absolutely love what it is that you're doing. Because back in my early 30s or early 20s, I would work all day and then spend all my evenings, learning how to write ads, learning about SEO, simply just as practice. And I didn't have to do that. I did that because I loved what I was doing. And I became better, at writing. I became better at speaking. And it was a result of all these extra hours that I was putting in. So coaches and consultants receive all kinds of good advice about maybe how to make a decent living, about goal setting, about finding a niche, about marketing, about commitment, whatever, mental toughness, organization. All of this is good stuff, but it won't help you much if you don't love what you're doing. Okay? It won't help you much if you don't love what you're doing. So creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable, like I said, it's the hardest thing to do if you want to scale. And if you're not careful, you could build yourself a high-paying prison. And while it's a great way to get started, maybe with a little capital, it's actually very hard to play in the big leagues because the more you mature in your business, the more, you start playing on the big leagues. And your time and energy can bring you to a screeching halt very quickly, right? You don't want to go out with a heart attack or things of that nature. You want to be doing stuff that you absolutely love. That way, you are in a position to literally create for and relate to the people that you're going to be, dealing with. And also, you have more time with your family. You have more time exercising and taking care of your health and actually enjoying your hobbies. It's pretty easy to become burned out and overworked if you don't love what you're doing. You need to love what you're doing. And if you do love what you're doing, all the other elements will fall into place more easily. So maybe before you leap into the next venture, just ask yourself a question. Do you really love what you're doing? Do you absolutely love what you're doing right now? And if you don't pause for a moment and ask yourself this question, ask yourself this question. If you had followed the path that you loved to do when you were 22, what would you be doing right now? What is it that you'd be doing? And whatever the answer, perhaps you can actually start doing that right now because like the queen, you're going to be at it for time immemorial. All right? She died at 96. I heard Jim Rohn speak the other day, and he was saying from 16 to 60, you can earn a wage. But from 0 to 99, you can earn a profit. So whatever the answer is, perhaps you need to start doing it right now. When you love what you do for a living, everything else changes. All right? So that's the reason why, with this podcast, I want to help you through maybe hundreds of all the potential pitfalls that can cost you your time, your energy, and your money. Yeah? And you might be thinking, well, why is this important? Why do I want this in my life? Why do you want to choose this path? Why did you make the decisions that you made? Why did you decide to work for yourself? Of all the unlimited choices that you had, why did you start a coaching business? Why did you start a consultancy? Why did you start the small business that you have right now? Why didn't you just get a regular job like everybody else? And why didn't you take it easy, and just waited for a paycheck? Why did you put the time and effort into learning all the skills that you've learned now? Why do you want to share all those skills with other deserving businesses? And why do you just keep, why don't you just keep those secrets to yourself and then charge anybody else who shows up wanting them? And why don't you just push the next shady, maybe affiliate product into the world? Well, I'm willing to bet that you had reasons, and I know there were damn good reasons, However, I bet that the reality of things maybe feels and looks just a little bit different from your dream, simply because you haven't actually poured your heart into this and you haven't created a business that's profitable and enjoyable as yet. You need to be creating a business that supports your lifestyle. If you want to be able to take your kids to school every day, that could mean maybe no client calls until after 10 a.m. If you want to be able to hit the gym every day, that could mean maybe blocking off that time in your schedule. If you want to be able to work maybe from 6 a.m. to just 12 p.m., that could mean maybe setting boundaries with your clients or your team members. If you want to be able to travel while you work, that could mean setting a productized offer that you can deliver remotely. All of these things. Have you thought about that? Because your business is yours. You determine the rules, not your clients, because you deserve that life of freedom that I was talking about. And once again, once you've gotten clear on what success actually means to you, you can design a business that offers, and supports your lifestyle. And any of these constraints that might be, coming through or anybody else facing them, you could actually use them to build an ideal business that you absolutely love and you're profiting from. And remember, you don't have to wait until you reach maybe a certain revenue level to live the life that you want. Start now. Start today. Ask yourself, if you had followed the path that you wanted to do back when you were 22, what would you be doing right now? Because chances are you can live that life right now, as long as you're intentional about what you want and what you're building, towards, and make sure it is supporting that. So you want to turn your coaching business or your consulting business into the ultimate lifestyle business. You know why? Because you're going to be with it for a while. The queen was the queen until she died at 96. Warren Buffett is the leader of one of the richest men in the world, and is 92 right now. So maybe you'll be thinking, how can I do that? How can I have time and freedom together at the same time? You need to get clear on your why. Why are you an entrepreneur in the first place? Is it so that you can be in charge of your schedule? Is it so that you can provide, better life for your family? Or is it so that you can spend more time with your kids? Or is it so that you can reach your true potential? Why? And when times are tough, I want you to circle back to the reasons why you're in business right now. It's your why that will keep you going during the hard times. And it's your why that will, get you to come back to it more often. We're going through market downturns right now. We're going through sweeping lockdowns, and there's going to be climate change over here and over there. You need to remind yourself all the time so that you be able to work through all the challenges and be able to survive until at least 100. And once you know your why, it's going to make it easier for you to make better decisions and actions towards, your goals. That way, by the time you reach 96, you've got no regrets at all, but good stories to tell. So this is why you need to know what really, really matters. Because first, if you figure out what you love to do, then you'll definitely figure, out how to make money from it and be enjoyable in the process. Are you really focusing on things that make a true difference in what you're doing right now? Or maybe, if there's a certain type of project that puts you in a flow state, why don't you do only those? So many things that you can do to actually start, really creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And if you want help designing and building a more predictable, profitable, and strategic consulting business, like I said, this podcast is the first episode in season 5. So you literally can just subscribe and listen as we go along. Or you can book a call with me so we can work hands-on with you. So, and I want to develop a strategic plan with you, and then maybe deep dive and work through your ideal client clarity and look at your strategic messaging, the fees that you're charging, the pricing, and look at your business model all to start with, and optimize it so that it actually suits your lifestyle and it's actually going towards where you're going. Because if you don't know where you are, you wouldn't know what you're starting off with. Okay. And then eventually we can just help you set your marketing engine and lead generation system so that you consistently attract the ideal clients that support the business that you want to create and support the direction that you want to head off to. I really want you to be successful. I absolutely wish we can high five each other so you can see how other people are living out there and creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. I want you to have a cool life. I want you to live longer. I really want you to see it through, and so that you've got a good story to tell. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au